Hello everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. Well, before we get into this tutorial for today, I found myself with an hour or so to spare, so I thought I'd squeeze in a video because I don't know when I'll be able to do the next one. But before we get started, I do have to say, and I'd love to say, a very big thank you, a super big thank you to everybody who's been asking about Graham. It's so sweet of you to ask, and I've had comments, I've had emails from all of you lovely people out there. We are an amazing community, an amazing crafting community here, and I love you all. So thank you very much. He's a little bit more stable. I saw him yesterday. His condition is a little bit more stable. What it's going to be like when he comes off the drip, I'm not quite sure, because he has a habit of going downhill again when that happens. So we'll see how it goes. I'll be seeing him today, if it ever stops raining. It's nothing but rain here in our corner of the UK. And we had a wonderful thunderstorm in the middle of the night. But anyway, all that's over now. It's still raining, but we're still here, so that's the main thing. So today, before anything else happens, we are going to make a shaped card. By a shaped card, I mean a card that isn't rectangular or square. In this case, it's hexagonal. And it stands really nicely, like that. So I'm going to show you, I'll show you two ways, or tell you two ways about how we can create shapes like this. And we can use our basic dies, what are they called? Nesting dies. Brain went to sleep for a minute there. So we'll come back to that in a moment. So what you need your card like that. Now, if you're doing what I do, I've made some templates out of my old nesting dies because I don't use the big dies anymore because my machine gave up the ghost and I decided not to replace it. But I've kept my dies because they make great you can make templates from them. Now this is a 6-inch diameter, so this will fit into a 6x6 envelope. Now if you're going to do it this way, you can use your die for this. Just draw around the edge. So what you need to do, before we get into how we make it up, you need to fold your card stock or your card base in half. Now if you're doing it this way and just drawing around a template or your die, put your die or template right on the fold, actually on the fold, like that. Draw around it with your pencil and cut it out. Now, if you're going to use your dies and put it through your machine, what you need to do, you need to put this top edge, make sure you've got a flat edge at the top, doesn't matter which one because they're all the same size, but put it slightly over the edge of your cutting plate. And then I was looking for something to use as a temporary cutting plate. So when you put your plate on, put it on over the top so that you just miss that top edge, so that that little top edge is sticking over your cutting plate and your top plate is just below that edge. So you still got that edge exposed. And when you run that through your machine, it will cut out a piece with a fold at the top and you'll be able to open it up and you won't it won't chop it in half. If you have your die and you put it on the edge like that, it'll just chop the card in half and you'll have to make a hinge, which you can do if you want to. But if you just pop it over the edge and put your top plate over the edge like that, so that that's exposed, the top edge is exposed, you will get a lovely shaped card which is already folded and bonded at the top. So that's how we make our card. So I'm just going to tuck that out the way. Now, I've done exactly the same to this one. This is just an ordinary piece of white cardstock. And on the front, I've put some patterned paper. And all I did with this, I cut the paper, I think I cut mine about 7x7. Laid it on, then cut round the edges. It's a lot easier than trying to fiddle about cutting it to size. But I just found that easier. Cut it an inch bigger all round. Stick your paper over so that your card is in the middle. Card mat. This is a mat. Well, this is the card base in the middle. And then cut round it, and you'll have a perfectly shaped backing paper. So that's that bit done. So we are going to make a frame for our card. I'm just going to pop that in the corner so you can still see it. I have used mirror card, gold mirror card for this. And again, I've used the same 6-inch diameter template, and I put a 4-inch diameter template in the middle. And I just drew around it and cut it out. But again, if you've got nesting dies, just pop your nesting die in the middle and die cut it completely. Don't hang it over the edge, just otherwise you'll have a flap. Unless, of course, you want a flap, but if you want a frame like this, just run it through complete. And on the back, I've got some foam tape, and I'm just going to quickly take the backing tape off. I've just pulled it up, hopefully to make it a bit easier to get off, because I wanted the frame to stand forward slightly of the base, just to give it a bit of dimension. So we're just going to take that off. Have we got all pieces? Yep, just check that we've got it off. I was going to bring my glue stick down and run it round, but I think we'll be all right. Make sure we've got it the right way. Now I'm just going to, I always line mine up with the bottom edges, but you do yours however you feel comfortable. Let's just pop it in the middle of the screen so you can see a bit better. So just line your edges up. I'm just going to sit it like that. I'm not going to press it down, and I'm happy with that position. So that's the time when we press down our frame. So now we've got a lovely card. It still stands up, she said, hopefully. And it still stands up really prettily. And I have made some flowers. When I say made some flowers, I mean stamped and cut out some flowers. So I've made some for the top and some for the bottom. So our flowers, I've got 3 for the top and 3 for the bottom. I've got some leaves. So we're going to decorate this together. And I've got foam pads on the back of my flowers. And we're going to put them in diagonal opposite corners, if that makes any sense. So hopefully it will. If it doesn't now, hopefully it will by the time we're done. So we're going to put a cluster in that corner and a cluster in that corner. That's what I meant by that. And so I've just stamped, cut and coloured my flowers. So I haven't done any planning. I don't know quite how I'm going to put these just yet. We're going to make it up as we go along, as we often do on this channel. Yeah, we're winging it as usual. No plan here. So we'll just take that off. I might tuck that one underneath like that, so we've got an overlap at different points. And I've got 3 more down here, but keep your, just another tip for you, keep any embellishments. You don't have to use flowers. You could alter this if, for example, you know someone who likes golf or any sports, or if they're a foodie, you can put cake or anything you've got that will be suitable for whoever your recipient is. So, but just keep it all with it. Don't let it stick over the edge, because otherwise it will increase the size and you might not get it in your envelope. So we're just going to pop some more embellishments on. And this time I'm going to have that one underneath. And I've got a little one here. Oops. Whoops. Now that's the problem. When you've got one so tiny, it's sometimes difficult to get off the backing tape. And I'm going to have that one just sticking over like that. Now when I looked at that, I did do a sort of dry run before we started, and I thought it needed some leaves. So I've also cut and coloured and stamped some leaves. Now I want these flat, so this time I'm going to use my trusty red runner tape. And what I'm going to do with that, we're going to just turn it over, put some tape on the back. Now that one I'm going to put under that little one there. So that's one of the reasons I put these onto tape, so that I could slip my little bits underneath. And I've got a few more here, so we're just going to very quickly finish this card off. It won't take long. And we're just going to run some runner tape on the back of our leaf like that. And this time we're going to have that one sticking up there. And I've got just a little leaf, just a tiny leaf. It was one of those that came on a set. I think it came from one of the, I think it might have even come from something like Creative Stamping or something like that. But it's a fabulous set, wherever it came from. And I've got 3 more here, which I'm going to very quickly pop on. And then we'll put a sentiment on, and we are done. So this one's a fairly quick and easy one. So this time I'm going to put the cluster of leaves this side. Oops, she says don't put anything over the edge, so what do? Put it over the edge. That was clever. That's all right, we can, as long as you don't stick it down too hard, you can always rearrange. So we've got the clusters in the opposite sections. And I've just got 2 more leaves that I'm just going to very quickly pop on this little bit here. So we're going to put that bit in there like that so that it comes down. So we've got a bit of a trail going on here. And already we can see a really pretty card building up nicely, and we're nearly done. So I thought I'd do this together in real time so that you can see how I go about designing my own cards, or deciding where I'm going to put my bits and pieces. Now, I wasn't going to put a sentiment on this. I was going to leave it blank, but I found one that actually, well, I think goes quite nicely. It's a happy birthday. I found it in my stash. I think it came out of a craft pack that I either brought or came with a magazine. And again, I want this flat, so you could use glue if you wanted to. So I've actually run out of liquid glue at the moment, so another order to Craft Stash is urgently overdue. So I'm using my tape at the moment. So I'm just going to stick that through the middle, like that. And there we go, guys. There is our shaped card, in this case, a hexagonal card. And as I say, you can swap these out for a sports theme, a food theme, technology. Lots of people are into technology these days. So you could swap them out for computers, mobile phones, anything that you know that your recipient will love. You can swap this out for any theme you like. But I've decided to put flowers on this because this is going, I know who this is going to, and she will love flowers. And when it stands up, as long as you haven't glued it together, it will stand up really nicely, like that. I'll rock it backwards so you can see how it stands up. And I have got, which is super fussy, I know, a tiny little bit where I didn't quite line it up properly. Now, I know it probably, I don't know how visible, I can see it in the screen, which means you probably can too. So if you do find that you've done that, now if you've done this with a die, it probably wouldn't happen. But if you do find that you've done that, all you need to do is get yourself a pair of scissors and chop it off. And it was as if it never was. So there it is now. Perfect. Well, it's perfectly lined anyway. So there we go, guys. There is our shaped card. In this case, a hexagonal card. And you can do this, again, as I say, you can do this with your dies, and you can do this with whatever shape you've got. If you've got the octagonal ones, the circular dies, you can do that. You will need to just chop the bottoms off and add a hinge at the top. But perhaps we'll do that another time. And I'll show you how we do, or at least how I do it anyway. So there is our card for today, our shaped greeting card. In this case, it's a hexagon with some very pretty backing paper. I've just used up stuff I've got in my stash. I didn't buy anything new for this, for a change. Sometimes I get ideas and I'll go out and I'll buy something just to do a video, or specifically to do a video. But this time I used whatever I had in my stash. So I've got loads of flower dies. I could make a paper version of Kew Gardens with my flower dies. And I've got so much paper, backing paper, or packing paper pads, it's not true. In fact, I've got so much. When I was looking through my paper, I've got a tray or a unit that my paper's in, and there's so much in it, it actually collapsed, it fell apart. So I've got to get that sorted out some way. So I'm going to try and do that before Graham comes home. So again, thank you very much to everybody who's asked how Graham is. I really appreciate that. That's very kind and very thoughtful. So I'll give you an update in my next video. I've got an idea for the next one, but I haven't done any preparation for it yet. So next time we're going to do a bit of a Christmas theme. I know it's September, but it's frightening how these things creep up on you. You think, oh, well, it's a few months yet, but it's on you before you know it, or it is in this house anyway. So the next time we're going to do a Christmas themed project. As I say, I've got an idea, but I've not done any preparation for it yet. I will try and do that over the weekend and get it out to you next week. So in the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. Take care, everybody. Have fun. And as always, happy crafting. Bye-bye for now.